Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be working on the June journal that I'm creating for my design team work for Paper Inspiration. So this is the second video for this particular journal. It's a small journal and I am just loving the colours. So let's get started. So I'm going to start with a standard CD pocket. Now these are 5 inches square. I'm going to trim the flap off. I have used these before as a flip, but I find that there's not enough room to get into the pocket if you use it as a flip. So I'm going to use it as a pocket instead. So I'm cutting that flap off. I'm leaving probably about 1/2 inch there because I want to use that to reinforce the top lip of the pocket. Now I could have put some pattern paper inside of this and just use that as the pocket, but I thought I could have a bigger, something that would take more if I cut the middle of the back of the pocket out. So that's what I've done. I've left about 1/2 inch, I suppose, all the way around on the 3 sides, and of course I left that 1/2 inch at the top. So basically I've got a 1/2 inch border all the way around that front section of my CD pocket. Now the first thing I'm going to do is use my liquid glue to glue that top flap down, because that is the only flap that is not going to be attached to the page. So I'm using that as sort of a strengthening for the top of the pocket. Once I've done that, I have taken a page out of a gardening book, and I really like the image on it. It's a fern, and I'm going to cut that fern picture down so that it fits nicely behind my window. Once I'm happy with the size, I fit it inside of my CD pocket and then decide where I want to position it on my page, and then just put a little dab of glue onto the picture that I've cut out just to hold it in position, and then I'm going to remove the envelope or the CD pocket and then attach my picture properly to my background or to my page. That way I've got it in the right position and I know that it's going to fit perfectly. Now I'm using Uniquely Creative's Juniper and Sage paper range throughout this album. Beautiful paper range that Sue sent me from Paper Inspirations. So first of all I'm going to cut a 5 inch square from the paper called Good Vibes, and then I'm going to use my Spellbinders standard large circle dies. Well, the largest one, I think 3 3/4 inches square, round it is, not square, it's a circle. Anyway, I'm going to use my Big Shot and I'm going to cut a 3 3/4 inch circle out of the middle of this 5 inch square. And that's going to be the front pattern paper for my pocket. Now to add a little bit more interest to the front pattern paper, I'm going to use this Kazzaz Life's Moments background stamp, and I'm going to use my vintage photo ink. And I'm just going to stamp that basically all over the part of the pattern paper that's left. Next I'm going to ink around the outside edge and the inside edge of the circle. Use my liquid glue. I'm using art glitter glue for this. It's the glue I use all the time. I have tried using glue sticks, but very limited. I don't know that I trust them, but I mean everybody else uses them, so I'm sure that they do work, and I should probably be a little bit more generous of thought, I suppose, that they will work. But anyway, I'm using the art glitter glue because I know that works, and I'm going to attach the pattern paper to the front of the CD cover. The important thing here is to try not to get any of that liquid glue onto your clear section of your pocket. Now I'm going to add liquid glue to those flaps we left on the back of the pocket. So remember, we left a 1/2 inch all the way around. So now time to attach my CD pocket to my page, and that's how I'm going to do it. So once I've got my pocket front positioned nicely over my picture that's in the background, I'm going to use my bone folder and burnish that into place so that it stays put. Now I'm going to make a little journaling notebook to go in my pocket. For this one I'm using the Juniper and Sage. The sheet is actually called Better Together. I've cut it to 6.5 inches high and I've left it at 12, but I do end up trimming that down to 11. So I'm going to score it at 3 inches and 7.5 inches, and then I'm going to trim that 1 inch off, reducing it down to 11 inches. I'll burnish my folds and check that it fits nicely into the CD pocket. So now I'm going to make the little booklet that's going to go into this folder. So I've got some white, well, it's slightly thicker than the 80 GSM. This is the white sheets that come when you buy your scrapbooking albums. I've got so many scrapbooking albums and so many white sheets that I thought I may as well use them for something. So I'm cutting 3 of them down to 6.5 inches by 8 inches, and these are going to be the pages that will go inside of that little folio. So that'll be our journaling space. Next step is to fold each one of those in half and burnish them. Now I'm putting 3 pages in there, so that will give you like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll give you 12 sides to write on. I don't want to make it too bulky, so that's the reason that I went with 3. So I am going to use a 3-hole pamphlet stitch to attach my writing pages to my folder. I have used some little clips to hold them in place, and I've got it so that the folds of the paper are exactly over that 3-inch score mark that we made on our folder cover. So now I'm poking holes into that, and then I'm going to use a darning needle and some crochet cotton to stitch that into the folder. I'm going to use a 3-hole pamphlet stitch to attach the pages into the folder. A 3-hole pamphlet stitch is fairly basic, and there are heaps and heaps of videos on YouTube showing you exactly how to do it. If you are interested in having me do a video on how to do it, just leave a comment below and I'm more than happy to do a video on that. But as I said, there are lots of videos out there already, so if you don't know how to do it, check one of those out or leave me a comment and I'll do a video for you. So there we have our little booklet in our folder, and that, as I said earlier, will sit inside of our CD pocket that we've just attached to our journal page. Now I'm going to create a closure for this, and to do that I'm just going to use my 1-inch circle punch. I'm going to punch 2 of them out of a scrap of the pattern paper that I'm using, and then I'm going to use my glue to attach them to each other, making sure that I line them up perfectly. Once I've got them attached to each other, I'm going to ink around the edge using the vintage photo. So I'm going to attach that to the right hand flap of my little folder, because I want the left hand to come over and tuck under that. So I'm going to decide where I want to position it, add glue to half of the circle so that that can attach it to my little folio, and the other half that hasn't got any glue on it, the left hand of the folio can come over and tuck under it. I'm going to use my vintage photo ink once again to ink around the edge of the whole folio, including the creases. Now I've taken my folio to my sewing machine and I've stitched all around the whole edge of it. This would have been much easier to do before I stuck that little booklet in there if I had have been thinking about what I was doing. I also, that 1 inch strip that I cut off, I have also stitched around the whole outside edge of that, and I'm going to attach that to the right hand edge of the left flap. Now how's that? So it's going to just define, I guess, the edge of that little page that comes over. I've, as I said, I've stitched around it, I will ink around it, and I'm going to attach a layer of lace under it as well, just for a little bit of something extra. Now I'm going to add a little bit of embellishment to my little folder. I have got this tray that I keep of white die cuts. Now there's all sorts of die cuts in here. The actual flower that I chose to use comes from the Sizzix Tim Holtz 665846 Artsy stems die set, and I'm just going to leave it white and attach it on top of that green checked strip. Time now to embellish my pocket. Now I noticed that there was a flower on that little bit of scrap paper that was left over, and it comes, of course it's going to match perfectly because it's from the same paper range, so I fussy cut around that, and then I used a sprig of leaves from Alina Crafts leaf die. Now the die hasn't got a name on it, so I can't tell you what it's called. But anyway, I've cut them. They're in my little tray there with everything else, with all the flowers. So I've used the fussy cut flower and 1 sprig of those white leaves, and I also used a sprig of green leaves from the uniquely creative Indigo and Violet Velum Creative Cuts pack. So that's what I'm going to use to embellish my CD pocket. So that's my little project for today. So this is going to be the 2nd page in my journal. Well, actually it's going to be the 3rd because the cover's not on there yet. So we've got that 1st page there with the tag on it. Then we've got the pocket page there, and now we've got the CD pocket page. So yep, that's the progress I've made so far, and of course I'm going to have to keep working on this. The beautiful papers that I'm using are from Paper Inspirations, and also the other, like the Creative Cuts, are also from there. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that you will look forward to joining me for my next video, just like I look forward to your company when I create my videos. Okay, thanks for being here, and I'll see you soon.